This episode of the Fight Within podcast is presented to you by Meguiar's. For over 115 years, Meguiar's has been carefully creating and producing advanced formulas with cutting-edge chemistry to deliver a show car perfect appearance. Whether you're showing on the fairway, finalizing your car for auction, or simply getting your beloved car ready for a weekend drive, Meguiar's is ready to help with their premium car care products to make every automotive surface look its absolute best. Meguiar's, reflect your passion. Make sure to visit them at meguiars.com.
What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Fight Within podcast. As my microphone is falling off the stand, there you go. We're keeping all of this in.
What the heck?
I know.
I'm gonna check mine now. Make
But-
sure it's on there.
And I think I was turning it the wrong way. Should we just re-record?
Nah. Technical difficulties on.
You just want to leave it?
Yep, I sure do.
Ready, tighty. There it is. All right. Anyways, it is post 4th of July, and we have a veteran in the house / co-host. And so we just wanted to touch on like what 4th of July means, the meaning behind it, and we can even touch on how we celebrated it.
Oh, true.
Because I never showed up to your house.
Yeah, dude, 4th of July, man. I had so many discussions about it yesterday. Obviously, like, we spent so long with some of our other friends talking about it.
Yeah.
And just talking about, like, the meanings of it to the individuals that were there. Or, like, it always turns into, like, politics and fun stuff like that, right?
Yeah, fun stuff like that.
So it's always ironic, but, you know, the couple, one of the couples we were with yesterday, he was just talking about how, you know, his family grew up thinking one thing and taught to think one thing and stuff like that, and it ended up, you know, he started to change his viewpoint when he left home and joined the military.
Mm-hmm.
And once he joined the military, he was like, dude, I saw a bunch of different viewpoints, and, you know, because the military is a melting pot. You got people from all over walks, every race, every type of life you could have. And it's always just interesting. And so we start talking about what it means and how, you know, there's people in his family that literally don't celebrate 4th of July. And it made him so mad coming from someone that is from their family and now thinks the way he thinks. He was like, what do you mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, don't, essentially along the lines of, like, stop playing the victim and get out and do something to change your surroundings or your circumstances. But anyways, that's not where I wanted to go. I wanted to just touch on like 4th of July to me is like, everyone jokes around, I mess around about it, like America Day, like America, you know, like all that fun stuff. But in reality, America is such it's a powerful country, right? But the term America, the flag, what it represents, what we do with being American, to me is something I don't take lightly. And in today's polarizing world, like, I get so frustrated so much of the time, but most of the time I choose to not say anything. Not because I'm scared to say anything, but more so because I don't even want to give some of those people my time and my energy. But dude, America is a place that represents so much for so many people all around the world, whether it's hate or love or passion or the hope and the dream. It represents so many things for so many people. And I think it just sucks to see where the state of our country is and the Americans that live in it today.
Well, I think it's definitely, when you talk about freedom and the ability, even the opportunity to do things. Like, my parents didn't migrate to Cuba, and they didn't migrate to, you know, Russia, or they migrated to America.
Yeah.
Because of the American dream, and because they felt that when they had a family, they'd be able to provide a better life for their family. And so I don't think people take advantage of that. Even me, sometimes I pout about certain things, but it's like if I was in another country, I wouldn't have the freedoms that I have now. Like I wouldn't be able to, or be given the opportunity and get the chance to have a business and the struggles that come with that. But because I'm in America, I get the chance to say, you want to open up a business? Cool, go do it. Like you're going to get out what you put in. I remember watching that Marcus Lemonis dude from I forget the name of the show, but The Prophet. Yeah, and he went to Cuba in one of them, and there was people that were entrepreneurs, like this lady specifically. I remember she had a bakery, and she was a dentist, went to school, had her own practice. She stopped doing that because of how much she was getting paid and how much control the government had over her dental practice, that she opened up a bakery and is now making double as a baker than she was as a dentist.
Yeah.
And it's because of the involvement of the government and all that stuff, right? Well, those freedoms, they don't have they're communists. They have control over everyone. And it's like, I love when you say, like, if you don't like it, get out.
Seriously, please leave.
And that's all it is. Like you, yes, 100%. Are we flawed? Like you say all the time, sure. But we are given opportunities. We get a chance to go do the things that we want to do, to go prove ourselves, to say, look, I want to have a business. These are the things that it takes to be quote unquote successful in business. So I have to go do these things. If you don't go do these things, just a simple act of working hard, getting up early. Like if you don't do that, you're not going to have what you deem as a success.
Yeah.
You know that, and I think there's so much that people tend to forget. Like again, going back to my point, where it's like my parents coming from Mexico, they didn't migrate to another country. They came to the U.S. in hopes that they'd be able to provide a better life. Now, they went the illegally. They crossed, but then when they got here, they did all the proper things. They're now citizens, and they did all the paperwork and paid all the fines and did everything that is needed, and they pay their taxes every year, and they've done that. But it's like, I grew up seeing that. Like my American story is different than some other people. You know, like I grew up watching them working hard and getting up early at the butt crack of dawn. My dad's a bus driver, and my mom worked at a daycare / preschool. You know, and she just recently retired, but it's like watching them work hard so that we would be able to go to good schools and live in a good area and be given opportunities to go work in whatever field we wanted to. That to me in itself is like the American dream. Like they were able to provide a better life for their kids, knowing what else was, you know, versus staying in Mexico and being raised in Mexico and doing all that, you know, what comes with all that.
Yeah.
You know, it's different. And so, yeah.
That's a cool perspective, though, because I have the opposite, obviously, right? Like,
yeah.
You watch that. My dad's from South Dakota. Like, and then my mom was born in the Philippines, but she was born on a U.S. base because my grandfather joined the Navy, but through the Philippines. But she was born on a U.S. base in the Philippines, so technically she was a U.S. citizen right away.
Yeah.
And you know, my grandparents had to do it the way of being. He went into the military. That's, you know, how some people do it. They like earn it a different way. But born and raised in the Philippines, and then they came here when my mom was like 6 or 7 or 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
So the same concept that like my family or my mom's side of the family came here. Like they could have stayed in the Philippines. They could have went anywhere. They came here to Santa Ana, actually.
Yeah.
And put their roots down. And so I grew up obviously with, you know, like mainly with my mom's grandparents, so like my Filipino side. And to see like what they've accomplished by coming to America is crazy, right? But then on the flip side, my dad is born and raised country boy. So for me, like I don't have the perspective that you had, but being in Santa Ana and growing up in Santa Ana, I saw a lot of the similar things, right? Like a lot of like the neighborhood was same concept. Like they came here from Mexico or their parents came here from Mexico, and they just grinded and worked hard and did all those things to award and provide and to potentially give a better life to the future generations. I think today what's just so frustrating is I actually said this last night, and I think it's one of the first times I've actually said it out loud, and I still fully haven't grasped how it really affects me in the way I really think. But last night I said something along the lines of the state of the country, like where we're at now as a people and as a country, as a, like, you know, as a nation. That's not what I served for. And to say it out loud and actually like think about it as I was saying it yesterday, I was like, whoa. Like I've never really had like one of those moments before, because if you want to think X, Y, and Z, go ahead and think X, Y, and Z. I just don't care as long as it doesn't affect my own self, right? Like that's why we live here, so you can have those opinions. But with how polarizing everything has been, it's no longer, in my opinion, the same as what it was when I was in the military, right? Like Obama was our president when I was in the, well, he had just gotten elected when I was already, I think, my first year in. And obviously, you know, like we went through, my whole time in was Obama's presidency, and then right after, you know, like he ran again and stuff like that. But to see like back then, even, you know, 15, 16 years ago to now, how much it shifted in the senses of, like, you might not have liked Obama or George Bush, but we were in a time where you could still have mutual conversations. You could still be family friends with people. You could still have relationships with people and not think that they're, you know, an evil person for thinking the opposite on both spectrums, right? Like you're not evil because you're racist, or you're not evil because you want pure government control and you're for all the awesome writing and all that other stuff. Like it was different, but now, because of the media, who's our number one freaking enemy, I think, in this country right now,
for sure,
it's so polarizing. Where like if you viewed one thing and I viewed the opposite in today's culture, we're like almost taught to hate each other right now for no reason. Like we can have opposite beliefs. That doesn't affect me as a human being in the way I'm going to treat you as a human being. But with how everything has shifted, it unfortunately is kind of that way now. Like we've lost family friends because of some of our viewpoints versus their viewpoints, and ironically, we weren't the ones that started any of it. It's just like, what, you know, you've known me for how long, and now all of a sudden, like, you think I'm all these things, but you've never once thought those ever until, you know, you let your feelings and your emotions control your belief system, which is good, obviously. I'm not saying not, but to let it dictate you to come to these conclusions about other people without having any like actual like physical anything to like, I can't even talk right now because like, it's just so mind-blowing to me.
Well, I think people, and we've talked about it before, are a lot more sensitive or soft, if you will. Like there used to be there's these events that happen in our nation that bring people together. One of them being like 9/11. All of a sudden, people were Team America. Let's unite. Let's kick their ass and screw the terrorists. And the media was obviously pushing that narrative as well. Like, hey, let's all come together. We're one. Always remember, you know, all that stuff. Well, now it seems like that's completely shifted to, if you're on this side of the spectrum and I'm on this side of the spectrum, we can't be friends. We can't talk. And I don't think people, we've touched on it before on other episodes, you have to be able to have a even if you're in disagreement. Like, I think football is better than ice skating. I mean, hockey. And we don't agree on that. And yet, do we joke? 100%. But we can still talk. I'm not going to hate you because you think that ice fairies are better than football players. Like, that has nothing to do with it, you know? Or you think footballs are just a bunch of jocks that can't skate.
Seriously, a bunch of meatheads.
For sure. But I'm not going to be like, Ben, we can't be friends. That's something minimal like that and something dumb like that, and it is how I view those sort of arguments. Because you, at the core of it, as human beings, we want to be part of community.
Yeah.
And I get that part of it. But we also have to work with each other, live with each other, be in each other's spaces, be in each other's communities. And it's very much, it comes down to, in my opinion, to love. And I don't know how I feel about, certain people saying like, oh, well, the moment we started separating from God is the moment the U.S. started going to crap. It's like that is an extreme opinion probably, but like, do I agree with it? Am I a believer? Yes. Do I believe in Jesus? Yes. Do I believe he died for my sins? 100%. But I don't know that I probably should have paid more attention in history, but like, yeah, it says in our dollar, like, in God we trust and all that good stuff. But it's like, how involved was God really? Like, did people really have those core values? I think as a nation, for sure, there's an era, a period of time where our morals and our values were very strong and we had a solid foundation. But then, things start developing and things start changing. That doesn't mean that I need to stop loving you or caring about you or just treating you like a person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man. It's just different in such a confusing way where, like I said, I don't even fully know how to express how I feel. And it's even one of those things where it's like just listening and watching and seeing people posting about X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, dude, like, I don't even know where as a country we're going, and that's what's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's just sad to think that my buddy said it yesterday. He literally goes, I don't want all those deployments I did to be for nothing. And when he said that, I was like, shoot, well, it's never going to be not for nothing. But
yeah,
it does sometimes, and it depends what military person you're talking to. Some might think we're freaking awesome still. And others might think even more radically to the opposite direction where, we're a goner. And then you have people that are like in the middle where it's just like, dang, like, it's definitely not, all the stuff that's happening right now is definitely not what I served for, and it doesn't represent what I served for. And everyone has a different reason for serving, but for me personally, like, my parents said I always wanted to be a Marine. Mm-hmm. And so when it came for that time, I said I was going to do it since I was a little boy. 17, like when I turned 17, it came around and I went and signed up for the Marine Corps. Because it was always something I said I was going to do, and so I did it. And, a lot of my buddies growing up were like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be a Marine or an Army or Navy SEAL, and I'm the only one that did it. And, again, to me, I wanted to go because it's something I've always wanted to do. I wanted to serve my country. I wanted to earn that title, United States Marine. No one gives that to you. That's something in my life that I had to do 100% on my own, and I had to earn it. Like, there was no greater feeling than earning the title, like, United States Marine. Like, that was honestly probably, like, one of my highest accomplishments in my life so far is, like, I had to freaking earn that,
Yeah.
And you're standing and you get awarded this Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, the Marine Corps emblem, and getting awarded that on, like, what they call the parade deck in MCRD San Diego and officially earning the title Marine was something that, like, dude, it's like I get goosebumps thinking about it still because it's something, again, that you can win world championships. You could be the best pound for pound fighter in the world. You can be all those things, and you had to earn that. But earning the title United States Marine is, even to me, like, more special and more rare because there's not as many of us that have done it.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. But to me, that feeling in what being a Marine embodies and resembles in, like, the flag and the United States of America, to me, it's always going to hold a different value, I think, than to a normal person, not that I can't say normal, but somebody that hasn't gone through what I went through. And I've been rambling a lot this episode just because, like, I'm just very passionate about it, and I just don't, like I said earlier, I really just don't know how to fully, like, kind of articulate it yet.
I think it's tough because you part of what you fought for was freedom of speech, and then people are now given platforms on social media and various different media outlets or platforms to speak their mind.
Yeah.
And I think it's fine, but I think the moment you try to push your ideology onto someone else and try to make it a bigger deal is when it kind of has to, you need to kind of take a step back and reflect on like, okay, is this for the greater good, or is this because I selfishly want to push my agenda?
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. It would be tough to be in your situation, to be a Marine, to be someone that served for those freedoms, but then people almost abusing them.
Yeah.
And it's not, I think as a nation, we have our core beliefs and values and standards that we have set. And for them now to get twisted or change, or people trying to change the Constitution and being like, well, you know, yeah, these are your rights, but now I'm going to try to take them away, or I'm going to try to do things to hinder those constitutional rights. It is a scary feeling, but if you look at even all the way to when Earth was made, and power corrupts people.
For sure.
Money will corrupt people. You know, so all these selfish desires corrupt people. So why don't maybe start looking at how your thought process or your values can benefit other people, instead of just what you want, you know?
For sure. Yeah, man, I don't know.
It's tough, man. I do not envy you for being in the position that you're in. I love that you served our country, and I'm proud to be your friend. And it's awesome that I can be like, oh yeah, my buddy is a freaking Marine. Like, he's my business partner. He's my podcast co-host. Like that to me is something that I can be proud of. The fact that other people are maybe abusing it or take advantage of it, that's the only thing that kind of saddens me, because I've and just to speak on people, like, you're Filipino-American, I'm Mexican-American, and I've had different, you know, family events and things like that where my cousins are like, oh, you're not a proud Mexican, you're not proud to be Mexican. And I'm like, why? Because I live in Orange County, because I have a family and wanted to provide a better life for them. Like, no, I am very proud of my culture, but I'm American first.
Yeah.
I don't like when they say Mexican American. I was born in East LA, which is in the United States of America.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and that's the thing too, and that's what makes America America. We are a melting pot of people, and that's what makes America America.
Yeah.
You know, like, and people forget, like, we have all these issues here, and I don't want to go down this tangent because I want to, like, wrap up, but we have all these issues here, and we have all these things, and people are always asking why. Well, because we pretty much let everybody and their mothers into America. And am I saying it's bad? No, but there has to be some form of checks and balances, just like everything, right? You know, people will be like, oh, why? Like, right now, one of the topics is immigration and people coming here illegally, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that don't understand why we need to close our borders, that people are people and humans are human. I'm not debating that. But try to go do that in another country. They won't let you. And people wonder why I'm not saying this is the source of our problems, but this is one of them. You know, for example, try to go to Ireland, try to become an Irish citizen, or to seek out an Irish passport. Mm-hmm. It's probably not going to happen. They're one of the hardest ones to get, and literally Jake and I, the guy that did my tattoo, we were just talking about, he lives in Ireland. He's from here, but he lives in Ireland now. And we were just talking about that. He was like, people don't realize, like, America's, like, it's, to have the American dream is a lot easier to achieve than going and living in another country. And that's a whole nother topic, but, you know, people wonder why we have all these issues. That's just one of the reasons. Like, we are a melting pot of people. You can't go get into a lot of these other countries the way you can get into America. Anyways, all in all, I am a diehard American, proud American, of what our country represents, what we should be standing for. But as a whole, as one of the most, like, sought after nations in the world, like, I am proud to have had a small little glimpse and piece of serving my country, for whatever, again, people's reasons are. Thank you to all those that have served. July 4th was and is a day for me that will always be special. You know, I had a very special July 4th when I was in Afghanistan in 2009, so it literally holds so much more weight to me. I might not be proud of where our country's at or where we're heading or what's going to happen. I have no clue, but I am proud of the fact that I am an American and I am a United States Marine, and that we do have the abilities to be here. And again, like, to each their own, but I'm going to say it again, and I'll say it continuously. If you don't like it here, please leave. Yeah. If you don't like it here, get the hell out and go somewhere else. And on that note, I hope everyone had a safe and happy 4th of July. Mr. Manny, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah. Awesome. Again, proud to be your friend, proud that you served. Thank you for what you did and all the people that served. And go check out the website, guys. Remember to go check out thefightwithinpodcast.com. Go buy a shirt. They're American made. And remember that everything was impossible till someone did it.